I thought I would tackle some of Infoflux's questions while Scout and I are doing our morning walk. I want to head over to the cemetery after this to work on Mom's flowers. I was thinking of switching out her flowers for autumn mums. Okay, let me think. Christopher, I think it's Christopher's questions. I don't know. It could be Rob too. If somebody gave you $1 million or millions of dollars, I don't remember the exact wording, to design, open, run a museum, what would the subject matter be? You guys come up with these questions. I was just commenting with Jasmine. Sometimes it takes me a while to come up with an answer. And I wonder sometimes how well in touch I am with myself that it takes me so long and I have trouble coming up with the answers to some of these questions. There's so many different things, geez. One of my thoughts was Frank Lloyd Wright. I used to be very interested in Frank Lloyd Wright and Prairie School of Architecture. And of course, if you're going to be designing the museum, that's a part of it. To have it in the style of Prairie style would be a part of it, you know. But is that really what I would want to run? I doubt it. See, it's hard for me to come up with something. I'm very self-deprecating, and I don't think of myself as being an expert on anything that I could run a museum for. It would be fun to have a dog museum, designing that all about the dog, but am I an expert about dogs? No. Right now, one of my things that I'm into are musical instruments. My tastes or my interests, I think it's, I don't know. Here I go being self-deprecative again. Deprecative? But if you remember, one of the things I said last time, I was so into interior decorations and how I was going to furnish my cabin when I moved there. Well, all of a sudden, my interests have been going back to musical instruments. I got my clarinet from childhood or adolescence serviced, and my French horn is in the shop right now. And I'm just into musical instruments and the idea of taking lessons again. So now that is my latest enthusiasm. So would I want to open and run a museum about musical instruments because that is my latest enthusiasm? I know it's going to pass, and another one will take its place. So this is really a hard question for me, Christopher. What were some of the other questions? And you should answer your own questions, Christopher. Oh, there's people coming. I'll take a pause. Okay, the next question I believe was supposed to be aimed at my interest in Bigfoot, because it was to the effect of, if you could prove that some mythical creature exists, would you do it knowing that bringing it out into the light and proving its existence might cause its ultimate destruction from human interference and stuff like that? This is another difficult question because my first response was no, I'd probably keep it to myself, but I really think that I would bring it out because I have some kind of crazy idea that humanity would not do that. I think it's a pessimistic view that it would lead to the creature's destruction. I think it might lead to its preservation, actually. And I think humanity has a right to know, because it might, I don't know, lead to its preservation, to its habitat's preservation. I think not knowing leads to its habitat being exploited, and like forestry to be industrialized and commercialized. Whereas if we could prove it exists, vast tracts might have to be set aside for its well-being, and that is why some people think there is a concerted effort to conceal Bigfoot's existence, because it would cause a big hit to the lumber industries globally and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I think, yes, I would bring it out, and I don't want to be pessimistic and say that it would lead to any sort of harm to the creature. Perhaps it would lead to a benefit. You could take the positive route as well. So those are my first two infoolflux questions answered.